Chapter 2. The Studio. The studio occupied the ground floor of a converted textile building on Wythe Avenue in Williamsburg, and 18 years after Jon had first walked through the door as an assistant, the place still smelled of machine oil and old cloth under everything else. Under the acoustic panels and the equipment and the coffee that had been burning in a too-small kitchen for so long, the smell had seeped into the walls. He didn't notice it most days. He noticed it today. He noticed everything today with that sharpened, wrong kind of attention, the way you notice a room when you think you might be leaving it. He hadn't founded the studio, hadn't bought into it. He'd shown up in 2008 as an assistant and become, through years of showing up and being consistently better than expected, the primary mixing engineer. He had a key. He knew every fault in every piece of equipment, which microphone capsule went thin after an hour at high temperatures, which channel on the vintage API console sat a quarter tone flat in the upper mids. He knew the building's bones the way he knew Eden's footsteps, completely from the inside, without having to think about it. The control room was his. The console, the monitors, the rack gear, the chair he dragged in from home in 2014, when his back finally staged a formal protest against the studio's original seating. Beyond the glass, the live room, 12 by 18, wood-paneled ISO booth in the far corner for vocals or anything that needed separation from the room's natural reverb. He loved that room. Didn't think about it much, the way you don't think about a place until you imagine it gone. The Brooklyn folk group turned up at 2:15, 15 minutes late. He'd budgeted for it. 4 of them, Marcus, the lead singer, in the flannel shirt, deep burgundy today, collars up, the careful dishevelment of a man who wants you to think he didn't think about it. His guitarist, Priya, precise and quiet, who smiled at Jon with the peculiar gratitude of someone who didn't know quite why they were grateful, but meant it anyway. Tomas, the second guitarist from Argentina, who spoke little and played beautifully, the economy of a man who decided language was inefficient and music wasn't. And the violinist, new, a woman named Saoirse, maybe 23, case under one arm, shoulders up near her ears, the defensive posture of someone who expected to be underestimated. Jon knew that posture. He'd seen it dozens of times. He shook her hand.
"I've never recorded before,"
she said.
That's fine. A microphone's just a very attentive listener.
He'd said it enough times it didn't sound rehearsed anymore. He considered that a small professional win. They set up in the live room. Jon watched through the glass while he dialed in levels, adjusting for Saoirse's instrument, a mid-range student violin, good but not exceptional, a brightness in the upper register he'd handle in the mix. He listened to 30 seconds of the first song with his eyes closed, let the room tell him what it was doing, and went to work. The session ran 4 hours. In those 4 hours, Jon was himself, fully and without effort. That's what the studio did for him. Outside it, he was a man who spent energy managing his own mind, the rituals, the grounding, the constant low-level vigilance against the dark thoughts. Inside it, the necessity of listening did the managing for him. The present moment was so loud in here, there was no room for anything else. He didn't have to work to stay grounded. The music did it. In the third take of the second song, he watched Saoirse through the glass and saw it happen. The thing he'd learned to watch for. She'd arrived with her shoulders wound tight. Now they were down, her eyes half closed, her weight shifting with the music, her body doing what bodies do when they stop performing and start feeling. He caught Marcus's eye through the glass, and Marcus grinned, recognizing it too. Jon wrote in the session log, Saoirse, take 3, song 2, keep. Between takes, the musicians talked among themselves in the live room, and Jon sat alone in the control room with the equipment hum and the soft ambient noise of the monitors and the private quiet of the in-between. It was in one of those silences, 4th or 5th of the afternoon, maybe 4:30, that he heard it again. Not the shape of a voice this time, something more than that, a thought. But the thought was wrong. It was his, in the same way all his thoughts were his, arising from his own mind, in his own register. But it carried a cold quality he didn't put there, a flatness. It moved through his consciousness like a bad signal through a clean recording, brief, distinct, and leaving a chill behind it. The thought wasn't a word. It was an image, or the shadow of one. His mind had assembled something without asking him, and was trying to dismantle it before he could look at it directly. The image was of Eden. He grounded himself immediately. 5 things: chair leather under his thighs, headphone foam against his ears, console surface under his fingertips, wedding ring on his left hand, feet flat on the floor. Present, here, now. He ran the rules, the ones Dr. Annan had given him in the first weeks of treatment. Do not engage with the content. The content is not the point. The point is to notice, name it, intrusive thought, and return. Intrusive thoughts are not confessions. They are not wishes. They are misfires. He noticed. He named. He returned. Marcus's voice through the monitor. You there, Jon? We ready?
Ready.
His voice was steady. His hands on the console were steady. He hit the red button, called Take 5, and the session ran on, and the rest of the afternoon was only music. He left at 7. The October evening had gone properly cold while he was inside. The first real cold of the season, the kind that finds the gaps in your jacket. He stopped at the corner to zip up and looked at the sky, which had cleared. Stars, or the suggestion of them, the approximate locations where stars would be if the city didn't wash them out. He stood there in the cold looking at the approximate locations and felt, very cleanly, that something was changing. He didn't usually do vague premonitions. He dealt in measurable things, but something had shifted in the texture of the air, or in the frequency of his thoughts, or in some register he could hear but not name, and the not naming of it sat in his chest like a stone. He bought flowers from the bodega on the corner. Small bunch, nothing fancy. He did this intermittently, without occasion, on days when the stone in his chest got heavy enough that he needed to do something concrete and kind to push back against it. He'd never told Eden this. She thought he bought flowers because he thought of her, which was also true. Both things were true, and he saw no reason to rank them. Marco caught him on the corner. He came out of the studio at 7, and Marco was there, jacket half on, catching up from behind, all 6 feet of him, moving fast with the energy of a man who'd been waiting for the right moment. 45 years old. Marco Reyes, who'd run the studio for 22 of them, and who had seen Jon become the engineer he was through 18 years of close proximity, and who was, without either of them ever quite naming it, the closest thing to a best friend Jon had had in adult life.
Walk with me a minute.
Marco said, not a question. Jon fell into step. Half a block, then...
You look terrible.
Long session.
Not the session.
Marco's eyes straight ahead, which was how he handled things he was being careful with.
3 weeks. Something's off.
Jon considered the version, the managed one. It was ready. It required no new assembly, just deployment. The thoughts, the static, a rough patch. He'd said it enough times it arrived in his mouth fully formed.
I'm fine,
he said. Marco looked at him sideways, the look of a man who has been listening to what was and wasn't in recordings for 20 years and knows the difference between a clean signal and one with something in it.
Come for dinner Sunday.
He said,
Elena's doing the lamb. Bring Eden.
We'll try.
Don't try. Come.
He stopped at the corner, clapped Jon once on the shoulder. Brief, direct. The Marco version of saying the thing he wasn't saying.
You look like a man who needs a table with other people at it.
He turned and walked back toward the studio. Jon stood on the corner with the stone in his chest and watched him go and thought, Sunday. He would make it to Sunday. He didn't make it to Sunday. She was at the kitchen table when he got home, red pen in hand, a stack of papers she'd been grading long enough that her hair had migrated to the top of her head in a loose pile that meant hours. A mug of tea sat at her elbow, cold. She spotted the flowers the moment he walked in. She had that way of noticing small offerings.
What for?
Not unkindly.
October.
He put them in a glass of water on the counter.
No occasion, no subtext.
That's a reason?
Best kind.
She watched him for a half second the way she watched things, measuring without being obvious about it.
How were the seniors?
Extraordinary.
She said, dropping the red pen. That was her word for when she meant it.
There's a boy in third period. I can always tell. There's a way they look at a blank canvas that the others don't, like it's a conversation they're about to have, not a problem to solve. This one's got it. Did you call Dr. Anand?
She asked it smoothly, mid-thought almost, but it wasn't casual. He heard the intention in it.
Session ran long. I forgot.
A small sound, not judgment, something patient.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
He agreed. He went to wash his hands. Stood at the bathroom sink longer than he needed to, the water running, looking at his forearms. Smooth skin. Nothing there. He turned off the tap and dried his hands and went back.
You look tired.
Eden said.
Long day.
Sit down. I'll make dinner.
I'll make dinner.
We'll both make dinner.
Already up, already opening the fridge with the decisive energy of someone who's decided and is acting on it.
Come tell me about the violinist.
He sat among the graded papers and told her about Saoirse, the arrival posture, the flannel shirt, the precise moment in take 3 when the music stopped being a performance and became something else. Eden listened the way she always listened, asking the right questions, the questions of someone who truly wanted to know, not the social lubricant questions that fill space without engaging it.
What does it sound like when it becomes real?
She asked.
Can you describe the difference?
It's not something I hear.
Jon said.
It's something I feel, like the temperature of the room changes.
She turned from the stove and looked at him with something in her face he couldn't fully read. Some quantity of relief in it, he thought. As though his ability to describe something beautiful was itself evidence of something she needed evidence of.
Good.
She said.
Good.
He ate 2 helpings. He washed the dishes. They sat on the sofa and watched something neither of them cared about much, but that required just enough attention to be companionable. Eden went out at 9:30, asleep against his shoulder, the way she always fell asleep after a day of grading, quickly and completely, like a switch thrown. He sat still so as not to wake her. His hand rested on her hair. He listened to her breathing and the refrigerator and the city outside, and all the familiar frequencies of the life they had built together. He thought about the thought in the studio. He pushed it away. He named it. He let it go. He would not sleep well tonight. He didn't know that yet,